I probably should record something different at this point, but here's this week's training footage. As per usual, squats, first set right here of, I think this is 363 pounds. Very, very easy. Also, I'm using the comp plates and the competition rack, which is on the other side of the gym. That way I can record myself from the front. The other side of the gym, I can't really do that too easily because the rack is right up against the mirrors, so I can really only record the back side or the side of my squat. And that was the first set. Moving on to the second. I think I rated that as like a 5.5. Supposed to be at a 6, so it felt pretty light. Felt comfortable taking the next weight around. I think this is 380 something. Again, kilo plates are kind of weird. With the 3 reds, it'd be about 374, and I might have added like 2.5 kilo total to that. So yeah, it should be around 381, something like that. I think it felt like a 6.5. The one thing I can see is just my torso position is just a lot more stable, and the slippers, the Notorious slippers, really help me use my toes during the actual lift. So again, like I said last week, I'm feeling my hamstrings, my glutes working a lot more, which is adding quite a bit of stability at the bottom during the pause. This is my last set. Supposed to go for RP8 since last week was pretty easy at 395. I went up to 402 pounds, not the most ambitious jump, but I think it was pretty much perfect. I rated this whole set as a 7.5, but honestly I felt like I could do at least 3 more reps, so it might have been really closer to a 7. That just means I have more room to move up next week. Right, before I address what happened in the clip that you guys just saw, I think I said the set was perfect for the last set. What I meant was really the jump in weight, not the movement itself. As for that, I think it was pretty good. Just need to polish a couple things. I wasn't entirely stable, but I guess I can't nitpick too much since it was supposed to be a hard set. These are the back offs. I think I'm taking them a little slower than last week. Again, they're not really that slow, but I'm probably a bit more controlled as I'm going down. But yeah, the bar bounced right back off the racking points because literally the barbell itself, metal, just bounced off of the bare metal on that. They should be rubber usually. Not just that, I did let it go pretty aggressively just because I didn't have a squat, especially when it's heavy. My shoulders and my elbows just want to kind of let go of the bar since it gets pretty painful. Although, like, this time around, of course, I'm probably going to set it a little more gently so I can avoid that in the future. Moving on to bench press. Overall, bench press is not in a good spot right now. Just in general, for this session specifically, it was even worse, given that during the warm-up and then going on to my heavy single and my top set after the single, I had like really bad pain in my quote-unquote elbow pit. That's essentially the anterior side of like your elbow joint, so like basically the underside of your forearm between the bicep. I don't know why it was like kind of strained. That's happened to me like once before. It might just be the way I was warming up, or maybe I was just experimenting with the grip width a little too much. Anyhow, 275 was pretty easy, but the pain was just getting a lot worse. Essentially, I just decided to test the waters with the first heavy set and then take it from there. I thought to myself, if I just kept benching, the pain would probably go away as blood just starts flowing to the area. Absolutely not the case. I did this, and then, yeah, that last rep is just brutal. It didn't feel too good, and I went quite a bit lighter for the second set. The top set was 259, this is 242. It's almost 20 pounds lighter, and it actually felt even worse, even going at a lighter weight, so I just decided to forego the rest of the session just because I didn't want to get injured. Yeah, too bad about bench press. Deadlift fared a little bit better. This is my top single, 545 I think on the bar. As for how it felt, Felt alright, just a little sticky. Of course, sumo is going to be slow off the ground. Actually, looking at the footage now, it looked pretty good. Maybe I'll take that back. One thing I did notice, I might replay the footage here, is that the bar path looked pretty good. Usually people kind of talk about bar path a lot more when they're talking about squat and bench, but obviously it's also vital to the deadlift. And I think it just looked much better than it usually does on that top single. The bar path might have looked pretty good, but it did feel a bit more awkward than usual. I think the theme of this session was just I was fiddling around with way too many things at once. Usually what you want to do is take one cue or one thing that you really want to work on, perfect that, and then everything else kind of follows later. So yeah, just overthinking a lot this session. One thing that I did also notice quite a bit of is my lats. I try to push my shoulders back, which is actually going to increase my range of motion. What you want is scapular depression, so you kind of lengthen the arms towards the ground. That way you can reach the bar earlier as you start to pull from the floor. But pushing your shoulders back is actually going to do kind of the opposite. So for me to think about scapular depression, I think like shoulders back, which is not the case. It should be shoulders down. It's still hard to kind of understand. Also, I think it was around this set or maybe a set or two ago where I kind of started feeling my hamstring quite a bit. That was probably just due to the way I was set up on the bar and because I was just fiddling around way too much with everything, and then therefore I kind of re-aggravated it since like the actual movement pattern was not what I was used to. So I started relying a lot more on my hamstrings and not my quads. I'd say in general the session was fine. This was 10 sets of 2 as usual, 455, the heaviest I've gone. Again, the weight never ever really feels heavy during these sessions. It's just kind of grueling. The fact that I'm just trying to find out what to tweak, and it can get a little annoying at times when some sets feel effortless, some sets don't. I look at the footage and I still have no clue what I should really be changing. Wanted to get a shot from the front there just to see how I'm pulling the bar, and as you can see it's kind of like a helicopter effect, just probably because of mixed grip, but it's probably also my stance width, and I've realized how awkward my deadlift looks from the front, just because it looks like it can go way wider, but when I do I lose a lot of strength. Of course, as time goes on I do want to start sumoing just a tad wider so I can get a nice vertical shin angle. Last set here, I think I did pretty well in this set. No, it's just the hips need to stay in place. Around the last set I was just kind of done with everything. But yeah, that is the video. Next block of training is coming up. I'll see you guys then.